Global Britain is back. That's what International Trade Secretary Liz Truss has just declared in a major speech in which she set out the UK, Brexit Britain's global future and outlook, retaking its place on the world stage, able, of course, outside of the European Union now to negotiate on our own 2 feet international trade deals in our own national interest. Going to bring you all the very latest on that speech from Liz Truss, including a section from it directly. But if you could please start off, guys, if you haven't already, if you want pro-Brexit news, God knows you're not going to get it elsewhere. So make sure that you've subscribed to this channel and click the bell so you don't miss future reports. And of course, if you enjoy my work, support me by clicking the join button, become a supporter here on the Westmonster channel. Now, before I get to this speech from Liz Truss, and it's one you're going to want to hear about, let me just bring you another story you may not have heard about, because Canada's Justin Trudeau predicting that a rollover deal with Britain to replace the EU-Canada trade agreement after Brexit will be straightforward. Canada says UK rollover trade deal will be far easier than Brexit talks, Telegraph report. Canada promised a post-Brexit trade deal with Britain would be easy to agree on Thursday. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau of Canada predicted that a rollover deal with Britain will be straightforward. He stressed that they wanted a trade deal with Brexit Britain that would be much simpler than the ongoing trade talks with Brussels. Trudeau was speaking at a press conference after a EU-Canada video summit. I can highlight it's fairly straightforward with Canada, and we are certainly very optimistic about in the ability to see things roll over smoothly. Trudeau added that there have been many discussions over the past years between myself and Prime Minister Johnson and his predecessor on that seamless transition. So there you go. Across the world, the UK engaged in talks, securing deals in the national interest. And of course, we've already seen that comprehensive free trade deal with Japan already secured in a matter of months. But let's get on to this Liz Truss speech. It was at Chatham House, and Truss tweeting, "I set the direction for the future of UK trade. Our trade policy will drive economic growth across the country. It will be firmly anchored to Britain's core values, and we will make sure it works for all of the country." And I've got to say again, I will keep highlighting it, that the ability of our government, the British government, to go around the world now representing and setting out its trade policy is something I think in the years to come you're going to see other European governments and European citizens and businesses get very jealous about, because we have this ability now to set out and control our own trade policy. We do not have to rely on the EU to do it for us. That, I think, when wielded correctly, is a massive competitive advantage for our country. Now, Truss's speech, she said, global Britain's return is timely. So he said, after nearly 50 years without our own voice, we are back at the table. We can use our G7 presidency next year to lead the global fight back for free and fair trade, challenging those who don't play by the rules. She said, I urge my newly appointed Board of Trade, and of course that's the Board of Trade that includes former Aussie Prime Minister Tony Abbott. Absolutely great to have him there after the lefties threw their toys out the pram and lost on that one. The UK, of course, being the winner. Having a man of his experience and standing can only be a good thing for Brexit Britain. But she talked about her Board of Trade seeking to re-establish the UK as a major voice in global trade. And let me just show you a piece of what Truss said directly yesterday. Very interesting stuff. Here's a clip.
With more negotiations ongoing right now than any other nation, we're working day and night to create a cat's cradle of trade deals across the Atlantic and Pacific, with the UK at its heart. And that's why we're seeking what I call British-shaped deals, because they're shaped to suit the strengths of our economy, to support our values, and to show what more we can achieve as a newly independent nation. These agreements also protect us against protectionism, shielding businesses from arbitrary tariffs or arbitrary bans by foreign authorities. The high standards forward-leaning agreement I signed with Japan last week provides a concrete example of our approach. That's why it receives such widespread support from the best of British industry, from City UK and Tech UK to Scottish salmon producers and the National Farmers Union, amongst so many others. Knocking down senseless trade barriers and shaping sensible rules will help innovative businesses succeed. Our deal brings two like-minded democracies together in our shared values, as well as our consumers in shared tastes, as we enjoy more of each other's high-quality goods and cutting-edge services. There is much more I could say about this deal, but we wouldn't have any time for questions. Global Britain is already defying the doubters. We want to carry on proving them wrong, and we have no time to waste. After agreeing the Japan deal in record time, the UK is already on to its fifth round with the US, nearing its third round with Australia and a continuity deal with Canada, finishing its second round with New Zealand, and in full flow with a variety of other partners.
And when I talk about the advantage, guys, that we have outside the EU with the Brexit trade policy, that really gets to the heart of it. British-shaped deals, not EU-shaped deals that the UK has to put up with. British-shaped deals to our advantage. As Liz Truss says, the strength of our economy and to support our values. And she said that Global Britain is already defying the doubters. Of course, and I keep saying it, there's so many people out there who profess to be experts on trade who have done nothing, absolutely nothing, since 2016 except talk down and be pessimistic about the possibilities and the opportunities of Brexit. They must be ignored. We now need to seize the global opportunities. And of course, I do have one eye on the US presidential election, because in terms of that big, beautiful US trade deal, that's far more likely in my eyes with President Trump re-elected than Joe Biden. Those on the left of US politics don't seem to have much of a good word to say either about this country or the prospects of a deal. So of course, that election will have an impact, I imagine, on the progress of a US-UK trade deal, the Trump administration being very much in favour of that. But I just want to pick up on a few other comments that Truss made in this speech. And by the way, guys, let me know. I mean, I thought this was a pretty major speech, and I've not seen much coverage of it whatsoever in mainstream media. Let me know if you have or not. But Truss said that too many countries have acted like the mercenaries of global trade, looking the other way while artificially low-cost goods undermined legitimate business. She said a few cheap phones and TVs will never make up for a nation selling off their security and subverting their sovereignty. In the long run, it damages free enterprise and free trade. I wonder who she could be talking about there. Truss making the point that taking back control of our trade policy means the British people are back in the driving seat, making it clear that the UK will blaze its own trail in terms of global trade moving forward, saying it didn't leave the EU to have another country's values thrust upon it, and of course looking to do free trade deals, British-shaped deals as she described it, but at the same time able to function now as an independent country with our own policy and our destiny in our own hands. Truss also pointing out that after agreeing the Japan deal in record time, which I think was only a 3-month process, I think they began negotiations in June and it was obviously signed very recently. UK already on its 5th round of talks with the US. You can see why I think that US election is so important in terms of that trade deal. 5th round, nearing its 3rd round with Australia and a continuity deal with Canada, finishing its 2nd round with New Zealand, and in full flow with a variety of other partners. And as Truss points out again, as a newly independent trading nation, unparalleled opportunities lie ahead of us. She said, "You will only sign deals like the one we did with Japan, which I'm confident will be met by approval of Parliament." Well, let's certainly hope that that applies to the EU and we don't see anything approaching a sellout deal with the EU. No deal, of course, always better than a bad deal that continues EU policy control. And I like the line at the end. Now, from Truss. Now Global Britain is back. It's time for the makers, the doers, the innovators to help us write our most exciting chapter yet. Ladies and gentlemen, the nation state, a government directly able to control policy, trade policy. This is the future. The idea of living in a protectionist bloc and having the EU go out there and represent the UK on the world stage. No. We can do it ourselves. Truss setting out here, as I say, that Global Britain is back on the world stage. It sounds like lots of exciting trade deals potentially to be done. But of course, the ultimate power is to be able to walk away from a bad deal. And let's certainly hope when it comes to the negotiations with the EU and of course the transition period at the end of this year, that the UK walks away from anything that looks like a bad deal. Let me know what you think about this speech from Liz Truss. Really keen to hear if you have actually seen any coverage of this elsewhere. As I say, it's a pretty major speech setting out the UK, Brexit Britain's outlook on global trade, on trade deals from Boris Johnson's government. So let me know, guys. And as ever, if you found this report helpful and informative, we'd really appreciate it if you became a supporter. Click the join button. Give this video a thumbs up as well. Supporters, you'll see them in the comments. They've got the Westminster logo next to them. You get the Westminster logo next to your name when you comment. So we'd really appreciate your support, guys. And as ever, thank you very much for watching.